Now we're getting to shape-shifting. It's scary. We're almost done, you guys. I'm sorry. It's so long, but there's so many creatures I want to talk about, and they're not long enough to do a video on.
She just wants to make sure that all the ground is covered.
Shapeshifting is the ability to physically transform through inherently a superhuman ability, divine intervention, demonic manipulation, or magic. The idea of shapeshifting is an oldest form of totemism and shamanism, as well as the oldest extant literature and epic poems. Extant.
Popular shape-shifting creatures in folklore are werewolves and vampires, and the gods, goddesses, and demons of numerous mythologies, such as the Norse Loki or the Greek Proteus. Shape-shifting to the form of a wolf is specifically known as lycanthropy, and such creatures who undergo such change are called lycanthropes. Therianthropy is the more general term for human-animal shifts, but it is rarely used in that capacity. It is also common for deities to transform mortals into animals and plants. If I have to be transformed into a plant, I want to be a Venus flytrap, but a giant one.
I said they're all kind of come together. The werewolves and the vampires all kind of come together. Other terms for shapeshifters include metamorph, the Navajo skinwalker, mimic, a therianthrope, the perfect wearer, coming from the Old English word for man, masculine rather than generic. It's also used to designate shapeshifters despite its root. It is used to indicate female shapeshifters as well.
While the popular idea of a shapeshifter is of a human being who turns into something else, there are numerous stories about animals that can transform themselves as well. See, now that sentence right there begs the question. Was McGonagall a witch first or a cat first?
Witch. Fairies, witches, and wizards were all noted for their shape-shifting ability. I believe in fairies. Not all fairies could shapeshift, and some were limited to changing their size, as well as the Sprigness and others in a few forms, and other fairies might have only the appearance of shapeshifting through their power called glamour to create illusions.
Ooh. But others, such as the Headley Cow, could change to many forms, and both human and supernatural wizards were capable of both such changes and inflicting them on others. Witches could turn into hares and in that form steal milk and butter.
Hares is in what kind? Okay, is in rabbit hairs.
You didn't catch that reference?
Oh, and then steal. Okay, so in that form they steal milk. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
The tales abound about the silky, a seal that can remove its skin to make a contact with humans for only a short amount of time before it must return to the sea. Clan McColdrum of East Foundation of Myths include of a union between the founder of the clan and a shape-shifting Silky.
Okay, so I'm looking up what it's called, but there's a movie that I watched. It's a cartoon about Selkies. It's really freaking good. I'm trying to find it. I want to make sure that I tell you the right one, because there's a couple of them. Okay, it's called Song of the Sea. It is the most adorable freaking cartoon about Selkies I've ever seen. So you should watch it. It's so adorable.
It's about... What is this creepy?
It's called Song of the Sea. Damn it. Here, take the thing. It's adorable. It's on Netflix. Or it was. You should watch it, though. It's so good. It's so adorable. And it really goes into detail about what a Selkie is, how they interact, the culture behind it, the bad stuff that goes along with it, all the witchcraft and voodoo type shit. It's really good for a cartoon about. It's like supposed to be for kids, but it's really, really interesting.
An Irish youth, David Rowley, discovers that his mute sister is a Selkie who must find her voice and free supernatural creatures from the spell of the Celtic goddess Fiona Flungal.
I had to stretch, my back is hurting.
Oh, we're about to take a break.
I know, I'm just saying it hurts. Okay, where was I?
Top.
Oh. Another such creature is the Scottish Selkie, which needs its sealskin to regain its form. That's what that one's about, the Scottish part of it. In the Great Silkie of Sule Skerry, the male Selkie seduces a human woman. Such stories surrounding these creatures are usually romantic tragedies. Okay, where's my phone? Oh.
Alright, Scottish mythology features shapeshifters, which allows their various creatures to trick, deceive, hunt, and kill humans. Water spirits, such as the Usage, which inhabit lochs and waterways in Scotland, were said to appear as a horse of a young man.
Ow.
A horse or a young man.
Ow. Other tales include Kelpies, who emerge from lochs and rivers in the disguise of a horse or woman in order to ensnare and kill weary travelers. Tam Lin, a man captured by the queen of the fairies, is changed into a manner of beasts before being rescued. He finally turned into a burning coal and was thrown him into a well, whereupon he reappeared in his human form. Okay, that was worded funny. It was worded weird, okay?
The motif of capturing a person by holding him through all forms of transformation is a common thread in folk tales.
Perhaps the best known Irish myth is that of Eof. I've seen this word before, but for some reason I'm having trouble pronouncing it. Eof, who turned her stepchildren into the children of Lear into swans to be rid of them. Likewise, in the Tochmark Etain, Fuamnach, jealousy turns Etain into a butterfly. I probably butchered most of those words, and I freaking apologize, but it's really difficult to read them properly.
Alright, the most dramatic example of shapeshifting in Irish myth is that of Ton Mac Colril, the only survivor of Pearl-Holland settlement of Ireland. In his centuries-long life, he became successfully a stag, a wild boar, a hawk, and finally a salmon prior to being eaten, and as in the wooing Etin, reborn as a human.
In Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The term is never used for healers.
Now we're going to get a little bit of the skinwalkers. Like I said, I'm not going to go too deep because we're doing a video on it. Alright. Where did you go? Oh, okay. By means of it, it goes on all fours. While perhaps the most common variety seen in horror fiction by the non-Navajo people, the Yi Naldashi is one of the several varieties of specifically a type of antigeny. It's weird.
I don't see I don't know. That's a weird word.
It's not in English.
Obviously. The legend of the skinwalkers is not well understood outside of Navajo culture, mostly due to reluctance to discuss the subject with outsiders. Navajo people are reluctant to reveal skinwalker lore to non-Navajos or to discuss it at all among those they do not trust.
Which a lot of Native Americans don't trust any white people or anybody that's not.
Who can blame them?
I don't blame them. Which we'll get into Thanksgiving and how wonderful white people are later. What happens when Rawling pulls this in is when we as Native people are now opened up by a barrage of questions about those beliefs and traditions, but there are not things in that need or should be discussed by outsiders at all. I'm sorry if that seems unfair, but that's how our culture is. Our culture survives. Adrian Keene.
Navajo witches, including skinwalkers, represent the antithesis of Navajo cultural values. While community healers and cultural workers are known as medicine men and women, or by terms in the locals' indigenous language, witches are seen as evil, performing twisted ceremonies and manipulating magic in a perversion of the good works medicine people traditionally perform in order to practice their good works. Traditional healers learn about both good and evil magic. Most can handle the responsibility, but some can become corrupt and choose to become witches. Ooh.
Animals associated with witchcraft usually include tricksters such as the coyote, but can include other creatures, usually those associated with death or bad omens. They might also possess living animals or people and walk around in their bodies by locking eyes with them. Skinwalkers may be male or female.
I've actually heard about that before. About that eye locking thing. Skinwalker stories told among Navajo children may be complete life and death struggles that end in either Skinwalker or Navajo killing the other, or partial encounter stories that end in a stalemate. Encounter stories may be composed as Navajo victory stories, with the Skinwalkers approaching a hogan and being scared away. Now, some Native American cultures believe that some of their people are skinwalkers.
Yeah, they're the witches.
No, like in Twilight, how some of the people were werewolves. They're called skinwalkers. Mm-hmm. That they can transform to protect the tribe.
Non-native interpretations of skinwalker stories typically take the form of partial encounter stories on the road, where the protagonist is temporarily vulnerable but then escapes from the skinwalker in a way not traditionally seen in Navajo stories that take place away from home. Sometimes Navajo children take European folk stories and substitute skinwalkers for generic killers like the Hook. You guys remember hearing the Hook? The guy that story
in
where
Peter Pan?
No. Story where you're in the car and your boyfriend they're making out.
Oh, the scraping on the side of the car. Yeah. I've heard of it.
This is probably gonna be a 3-parter. Sorry, you guys, but we literally
it's good though.
We literally covered like 5 different types of creatures. So
interesting stuff. Like,
subscribe. I also want to tell you a little bit of a story that happened to me and Anthony's Haunted Rituals one day. We were driving down the street, which is about the time when we found that creepy doll. And this dog looked really weird. Like it didn't. Its legs were longer than what you'd think a dog was. Its face was kind of like not quite. It looked like a pit bull, but it didn't quite look right. And we could have hit that dog and it wouldn't have moved. Like we stopped the car in the middle of the road and it was just like looking at us. And like Anthony, you know how stupid he is. He wants to get out and follow the dog, and I'm like, no, stupid. But the dog
take a closer look.
Right, but the dog literally like was right there. He was not going to move. Finally, like he moves out of the way, but he like gets to the sidewalk. Like literally, he's using the sidewalk. Like what dog uses the sidewalk? And like looks at me and Anthony like, are you gonna follow us? Like, are you gonna follow me? And Anthony's like, I want to follow him, but no, we didn't follow him. But he was just creepy. Like, he literally did not look right, and the feeling I got was not right. And then another time, I didn't see it, but we were driving on another road in town, and literally Anthony slams on the brakes, and he's like, that dog just ran in front of us again. Like, I didn't even see the dog. Like, I don't even know where the dog went. But he said that the dog, like, literally, like, ran in front of our car and almost got hit. I don't know where it disappeared to, where it went, what happened, but... And I have another friend that she said that she's gone to the cemetery a few times and actually seen this weird dog-like creature, too. So, like, it doesn't have a collar on. It's like brown and white and looks kind of like a pit bull, but it does not look right. Like, its shoulders and everything, it gives you the creeps. I don't know if it's a shapeshifter or what it is, but I had to show you my little... Creepy. Like, there's a lot of curses and stuff in this town. Like, there's a lot of things that happen. Like, there's a lot of UFOs and stuff. Maybe I'll do a story about the town at some point. But, I have a few more videos. We're going to take a break. Like and subscribe and share. I know this is long, but I hope you enjoyed it.